My girlfriend said she needed space and not to contact her. I said, take all the time you need, then blocked her, packed her stuff, and updated my relationship status. 5 days later she called, ready to talk, and got hit with, this number no longer exists. I was standing in my office break room, holding a paper cup of burnt coffee, when my phone buzzed with the text that detonated my entire life. I need space. Don't contact me for a while. Lila, no explanation, no warning, no hint anything was wrong. Just that. It hit like a slap I never saw coming. I stared at the screen long enough that my coworker, Jamal, walked past and asked if I was okay. I told him I was fine. I wasn't. 2 years with Lila. 9 months of her living in my condo in Cincinnati. And suddenly I was being told not to contact her, as if I'd done something so terrible she needed to disappear. I typed back, take whatever time you need. Sent it. Then, with a calmness that felt unnatural, I blocked her number. Not out of rage. More like a strange clarity. If she didn't want contact, then I wasn't going to claw at the door she closed. I finished my shift like nothing happened. But the whole time, my chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped something out of me with a dull spoon. When I got home, the condo felt wrong. Dead quiet, like it was waiting to tell me something I didn't want to hear. Her coat still hung by the door. Her perfume drifted from the bathroom. Her half-finished iced latte was sitting on the counter, sweating through the plastic cup. That was what broke me. Not the text. The latte. The proof that this wasn't a breakup she'd thought through. It was something impulsive, emotional, maybe cruel. But I took her at her word. I started packing. Every one of Lila's clothes, her skincare obsessions, her dog-eared novels, her bizarre collection of antique salt shakers. Hours passed. I folded everything neatly, boxed it carefully, lined it all up near the door like she was checking out of a hotel. By the time I finished, the place was spotless. Empty. Mine again. I changed my relationship status to single, no dramatic caption. Called a locksmith. By midnight, the condo felt strangely peaceful, as if the house itself had let out a breath. Then 5 days later, today, my phone rang while I was in the middle of answering a client email. Unknown number. I picked up. Hello. Oh my God, Aaron. Finally. I've been trying to reach you. Why aren't you answering? Lila's voice. Breathless. Panicked. Like I was the one who'd vanished. You told me not to contact you, I said calmly. So I blocked your number. There was silence, heavy and stunned. You blocked me. You said you needed space. That's not, Aaron, Jesus. What did you do? Everything you asked. She inhaled sharply. Where's my stuff? My key doesn't work. I changed the locks. Your things are packed. Your friend Daisy can pick them up. You're kidding. Her voice cracked. You actually kicked me out? You left, I said. You left via text. Another long silence. Then, a whisper loaded with disbelief. You don't understand. This wasn't supposed to happen. Something about the way she said that made my stomach tighten. Then what was this? I asked. She didn't answer. Not directly. Instead she said, we need to talk. Face to face. Now. No, I said. We don't. Aaron. If you don't talk to me, something really bad is going to happen. And before I could ask what she meant, the line went dead. I froze, phone still in my hand, heartbeat climbing. What the hell did that mean? And what exactly had I just stepped into? Before everything blew up, before the text, before her voice shaking on the phone like she just realized she'd lit her own life on fire. There was the version of Lila I thought I knew. I met her almost 3 years ago at a friend's birthday dinner in Over the Rhine. She was the kind of person who walked into a room like she'd been choreographed. Soft voice, huge brown eyes, and this way of touching your arm when she talked to you that made you feel chosen. She laughed too hard at my dumb jokes, then later admitted she'd been nervous because you seemed like the stable type. I should have paid more attention to that word. Stable. People who chase stability usually come from chaos. But back then, I didn't know that. I fell hard. We started seeing each other constantly. Walks along the river, late-night tacos, weekend trips to Louisville. She told me early on she'd grown up in a dramatic household, which was code for a mother who meddled in every detail of her life and a father who left without a goodbye. I thought she was just sensitive, emotional, maybe a little intense. I didn't think it was danger. When her lease ended, she asked to move in. She didn't call it a test at the time, but looking back, almost everything she did had that vibe. A quiet, prove you love me energy lurking behind her smiles. Still, the first few months living together were good. Great even. She decorated my boring condo with thrift store art and too many blankets. She made playlists for cooking, playlists for laundry, even playlists for brushing our teeth. She turned every ordinary thing into an experience. But slowly, so slowly I didn't notice until it was too late. Something shifted. She stopped going out with friends unless I came. Then she got annoyed if I didn't want to go. Then she got jealous over nothing. Then she started crying about things I never said. Then she'd apologize and cling to me like I was the only thing keeping her grounded. But then, without warning, she'd swing the other direction. Cold, distant, quiet for days over something she wouldn't explain. I tried to chalk it up to stress, work, family issues, life. But the truth is, Lila liked emotional power the way some people like alcohol. It made her warm inside, even when it was slowly destroying everything around her. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until 2 months before the text, when she accused me of pulling away because I didn't immediately reply to a meme she sent. I'd been in a meeting, a literal meeting. She cried for an hour, then curled up in my hoodie like a child and whispered she just needed reassurance. I gave it to her, every time. It wasn't love anymore, it was maintenance. Constant, endless emotional maintenance. And then one night, after a stupid argument about the tone of my voice while washing dishes, she said something I didn't understand until much later. I just want to know you'll fight for me. Back then, I thought she meant commitment. Now, I'm wondering if it meant something darker, more calculated. Because looking back, the pattern is obvious. She built tension, she created uncertainty, and then she waited for me to chase her. Every time, she needed to feel chosen. Not just once, but daily, hourly, like oxygen. So when she sent that text, I need space. Don't contact me for a while. She wasn't ending things. She was setting a trap. A test. One she never imagined I'd pass by walking away. And now she's panicking. Because her test backfired. Because I listened to the words she never intended literally. Because she lost control. And Lila, for all her softness and sweetness and fragile charm, never handled losing control well. I didn't know then what she meant earlier today when she warned, if you don't talk to me, something really bad is going to happen. But part of me already suspects this isn't just heartbreak. This is fallout. And I'm not sure what kind of damage she's capable of when she feels cornered. After Lila's cryptic warning, if you don't talk to me, something really bad is going to happen. I tried to convince myself she was just being dramatic, that she was bluffing or spiraling or trying one last emotional grenade to pull me back into her orbit. But by the next morning, it was clear this wasn't normal panic. It was escalation. I woke up to 16 missed calls from different numbers. I blocked them all before brushing my teeth. Then I checked my email. She'd found my work address again somehow and sent a long message filled with contradictions. She hated me. She missed me. She didn't need me. She couldn't function without me. It was the emotional equivalent of flinging furniture across a room and then asking for a hug. I forwarded the emails to my personal archive. Evidence. I had a feeling I'd need it. Walking into the office felt like carrying a storm cloud inside my chest. My manager, Dana, immediately waved me into her office. Hey, Aaron. Any idea why a woman was calling the front desk asking for you? Sounded pretty upset. I closed my eyes. Yeah, my ex. Is this going to be a problem? She didn't say it harshly. More like she was worried for me. I hope not, I said. But if she shows up here again, please have security escort her out. Dana nodded, but her eyes lingered, like she sensed something off. Just keep us in the loop, okay? We've had to trespass people here before. That didn't comfort me. At lunch, I took a walk outside to clear my head. I made it halfway down the block when someone called my name. Aaron. I turned and almost choked. It was Daisy, Lila's best friend, marching toward me with the furious energy of someone who'd been rehearsing a confrontation in the mirror. "You're unbelievable," she snapped. "Do you know what you did to her?" "I respected her request for space," I said flatly. She scoffed. "She didn't mean it literally. Everyone knows what space means." "No," I said quietly. "Not everyone." Daisy stepped closer. "She's not eating. She's crying nonstop. She said you humiliated her. You changed your relationship status. You blocked her. You packed her things. She told me not to contact her. That's what I did." "You really think this makes you look good?" Daisy demanded, her voice rising. "I'm not trying to look good," I said. "I'm trying to move on." Daisy's expression shifted, anger melting into something almost uncomfortable, like she wanted to say more but wasn't sure she should. "What?" I asked. "Say it." She hesitated. Then quietly, "She only sent that text because she thought someone else was in the picture. She thought you were pulling away because there was another woman." I just stared at her. My brain went blank for a full 2 seconds. "What other woman?" I asked. "She didn't tell me," Daisy said. "Just that she saw something. Or thought she saw something." "Saw what?" But Daisy shook her head. "I don't know. She wouldn't say. But she convinced herself you were drifting because you had someone else lined up." My scalp tingled, like cold air had just crawled across my skin, because I knew that was a lie. But the fact she believed it, that was worse. "Look," Daisy sighed. "Lila spirals. You know this. But if you just talked to her, none of this would have." I cut her off. She ended the conversation the moment she told me not to contact her. "I'm not chasing after someone who can't communicate like an adult." Daisy gave me this look, something between pity and disbelief, then shook her head and walked off. But her words stuck like glass in my throat. "She thought you had someone else. She thought she saw something." I didn't know what Lila thought she'd seen, or what story she'd built in her head. But suddenly her panic made a terrifying kind of sense. She hadn't expected me to walk away, because in her mind, I was already halfway gone. I returned to the office feeling unsteady. Something was off, something bigger than the drama I'd already dealt with. The tension in my chest wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was dread. And that dread only got worse when I got home and saw what had been taped to my front door. Printed screenshot. A screenshot of a woman's Instagram photo. A coworker of mine standing next to me at a team dinner 2 months ago. And across the bottom, written in Lila's handwriting, "This is why you didn't fight for us." My blood ran cold, because this wasn't desperation anymore. This was obsession. And she'd crossed into a place I'd never seen her go before. A place that made something in me lock up tight. This wasn't over. Not even close. When I peeled the screenshot off my door, my hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from the realization that something had shifted. This wasn't the messy heartbreak of a woman who didn't know what she wanted. This was the behavior of someone who had already made up her mind about me, long before the text. Inside my condo, I tossed my keys down and stared at the photo again. It was innocent. My coworker Jenna and me at a team dinner, plates of pasta in front of us, both smiling because someone cracked a joke. Nothing flirty, nothing secret. Just a normal workplace photo. But the way Lila had scrawled, "This is why you didn't fight for us," told me she believed something else entirely. I should have ignored it, tossed it, but I couldn't. Instead, I took a picture of it for documentation and set the paper on the counter. That's when I noticed the corner of another sheet peeking out from under my doormat. I pulled it out. It was another printed screenshot, this time of a text exchange. A text exchange between me and someone named Bree. Except I'd never had that conversation. I'd never even met a Bree. The messages were fake. Badly faked, but detailed. Entire paragraphs supposedly from me, venting about needing a way out, and saying things like, "She's suffocating. I just have to wait for the right moment to leave." I stared at it, throat tightening. Why would she? And then it hit me. Someone had shown these to her. Someone had convinced her these fake texts were real. Someone had fueled this entire meltdown. I didn't know who, but the idea made my skin prickle. I paced the living room, running through every possible scenario, when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but some instinct told me to answer. "Aaron?" A familiar voice whispered. Not Lila. Her mother. "Why are you calling me?" I asked, already bracing. There was a long, shaky pause. We need to clear something up," she said. "Something I wasn't supposed to tell you." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" She inhaled sharply, like she was about to plunge into ice water. "The reason Lila asked for space wasn't because she was uncertain about the relationship," she began. "It was because she found something she thought was proof you were cheating." I closed my eyes. "The fake texts. She didn't tell you that part," her mother admitted. "She showed them to me. I told her they were real." The room tilted. "Excuse me," I said. "You told her they were real? You knew they were fake?" "I didn't know that," she snapped. She was hysterical. She said the messages came from a friend of hers who saw you out with another woman more than once. I believed her. "She's my daughter." My skin crawled. "Who? Which friend?" "I don't know." She wouldn't say. Lila's mother hesitated, then added something that changed everything. "But that's not the twist, Aaron. The twist is, she didn't plan to break up with you. She planned to test you." "Oh God." "She thought that if she pushed you away, you'd chase her," she said bitterly. "She said if you didn't fight for her, it meant the cheating rumors were true." My heart dropped into my stomach. "She wanted to corner you," her mother whispered. "She wanted you desperate, guilty, proving yourself. That was the plan." I sat heavily on the couch, head spinning. "She didn't expect you to walk away," her mother added softly. There was a tremor in her voice. Fear, not anger. "And now she feels like she's losing everything. She's not stable right now, Aaron. You don't understand. She's not thinking straight." I swallowed hard. "Why are you telling me this? You've defended her nonstop." There was a long silence. Then her mother whispered, "Because she left the house an hour ago, crying, shaking, saying she had to fix what she ruined. She wouldn't tell me where she was going. And I'm terrified she's going to do something she can't undo." My chest tightened. "Do you think she's coming here?" "I think she's already there." My entire apartment went ice cold. I walked to the living room window, lifted the blinds, and my blood froze. Lila's car was parked across the street, and she was sitting inside it, head down, motionless, like she was waiting, not for a conversation, for a moment to strike. I let the blinds fall back into place, my heart thudding so hard it felt like it might punch through my ribs. Lila wasn't just spiraling anymore. She was watching my condo, waiting for me to crack, waiting for me to open the door, waiting for me to fail the test she never should have created in the first place. And suddenly, every instinct in my body flipped from confusion to survival. I stepped away from the window and locked the deadbolt again, even though it was already locked. Then I sat on the edge of my couch, hands pressed to my knees, breathing slow and steady. If I panicked, she'd win. If I reacted emotionally, she'd use it. If I confronted her, she'd twist it into proof that I still cared. No, I needed to be smarter than that. I needed a plan. The first step was obvious. I opened a folder on my laptop where I'd been storing screenshots, emails, timestamps, call logs, everything since her "I need space" text. I organized everything into a timeline. Clean, detailed, undeniable. If this kept escalating, I needed leverage. Next, I called my buddy from college, the attorney who'd handled the earlier nonsense with her fake legal demands. He picked up on the first ring. "Tell me you're calling because you finally decided to sue her for that coffee maker," he joked. "Not funny?" I muttered, lowering my voice. "I need advice. Serious advice." His tone changed instantly. "What's going on?" "She's sitting in her car outside my place," I said. "Been there at least an hour. I have reason to believe she's unstable. And I'm not opening the door." "Oh shit," he whispered. "Okay. First thing, don't confront her. Don't engage. Don't acknowledge her. If she tries to come inside, call the police. In fact, call them preemptively if you feel unsafe. I don't feel unsafe, I said. I feel watched. That's worse, he replied. He texted me instructions for filing a harassment report, plus advice on how to document any attempt she made to get inside the building. I thanked him and hung up. The next step was harder. I needed to prepare for the possibility that she'd try to force contact. Break into the building. Get security involved. Manufacture a crisis so I'd come out and rescue her. She'd done smaller versions of that before. Crying fits, guilt trips, panic spirals designed to pull attention back to her. But this was a whole new level. So I grabbed a notepad and wrote down everything I needed to take care of immediately. 1. Notify building management. 2. Save video from hallway camera. 3. Tell neighbors not to buzz in strangers. 4. Keep blinds closed. 5. No in-person conversations. 6. Do not leave the building alone. While I was writing, a loud buzz echoed from the lobby intercom panel. My entire body tensed. Then my neighbor Carla texted me. Hey, your ex is in the lobby asking people to let her up. I didn't. Should I call someone? I typed back quickly. Just tell the front desk. And please don't let her in under any circumstances. Carla responded. Already did. She looks out of it. I swallowed hard. This was no longer a messy breakup. This was a containment situation. I checked the window again, careful, barely lifting the blinds. Her car was still there. But now her door was open, and she was standing outside it, staring up at my building with her hands clenched in her sleeves. Her posture wasn't angry. It was determined, like she'd made some internal decision, like she was about to do something irreversible. I backed away from the window, quickly. Then I grabbed my phone, opened the note-taking app, and typed the part of the plan I hadn't wanted to admit I needed. 7. If she tries to come to my door, call 911. No hesitation, no arguing, no explanations, because whatever she had convinced herself of, whatever lies she'd been fed, whatever twisted story she believed, she clearly wasn't done. And if she was waiting for me to slip up, I had no intention of giving her the satisfaction. But as I paced the living room, replaying the fake texts, the screenshots, the way she'd stared up at my windows like she was calculating something, one thought kept twisting deeper and deeper inside me. Who sent her those fake messages? Because Lila didn't have the skill to fabricate that kind of evidence. Someone helped her. Someone fueled her spiral. Someone wanted her to believe I was cheating. And if I figured out who, I stopped pacing. No, when I figured out who, I planned to make them regret ever stepping into my life. I was halfway through triple-checking that every door and window was locked when my phone buzzed with a notification I wasn't expecting. A message request on Instagram. From someone I hadn't heard from in nearly a year. Hey Aaron, I think we need to talk. It's about Lila. From Jenna, the coworker Lila was convinced I'd cheated with. My gut tightened. I hesitated, then opened the full message. I didn't want to get involved, but this has gone too far. Lila reached out to me 2 months ago. She asked me questions about you. Weird questions. I didn't tell her anything, but something's off. She's lying to you, and everyone. My skin prickled. I typed back immediately. What exactly did she ask you? The typing bubbles popped up instantly, like she'd been waiting for me to respond. She asked if we were close, then if we'd ever hung out alone. When I said no, she got irritated. Then she asked if I'd ever seen you texting other women. I told her no. That's the truth. I stared at the message, pulse thudding. This was already disturbing, but then she sent the second message. The one that locked everything into place. She also asked if I could help her. Make a point. I didn't know what she meant at the time. I said no. But Aaron. She said she knew someone who could prove her right no matter what. A chill crawled slowly up my spine. Someone who could prove her right. Someone who could make evidence. Fake conversations. Fake screenshots. Someone who'd done this before. I typed, who? Who did she mean? Her reply was immediate. Daisy. I froze. Daisy, her best friend. The one who confronted me. The one who defended her nonstop. The one Lila always described as a ride or die. And suddenly, everything snapped into horrifying clarity. The fake messages. The altered screenshots. The rumor that I had another woman. The story Lila told her mother. The panic spiral. The entire collapse of our relationship. It wasn't just Lila. It was Daisy. Daisy who'd always hated how calm I was. Daisy who once joked she'd love to see you lose control for once, Aaron. Daisy who had access to Lila's phone, her social media, her emotional weak spots. Daisy who never liked that Lila moved in with me and drifted away from their friend group. Daisy who wanted her back. And it hit me like a punch. The test wasn't Lila's idea. It was Daisy's. Daisy planted the seed. Daisy built the story. Daisy fed every insecurity Lila had. Daisy convinced her I was cheating. Daisy made the fake screenshots. Daisy pushed her into the space text. Daisy expected me to chase, fail, break. And when I didn't, when Lila unraveled, Daisy stood by, fanning the flames like it was entertainment. I felt sick. Before I could process it, Jenna sent one more message. I didn't want to say anything earlier, but you should know this. Daisy told someone at a party that she could end your relationship in one move, if she wanted to. She said Lila would believe anything she told her. My heart pounded in my ears. And then a loud knock at my door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. I froze. I checked the peephole. Not Lila. Daisy. Standing outside my apartment with her arms crossed. Staring straight at the door like she knew I was watching. A smile stretched slowly across her face. Cold. Confident. Almost triumphant. Then she lifted her phone and held the screen up toward the peephole. A text chain. Between her and Lila. Daisy had texted, "He won't chase you. He doesn't love you. Trust me." Then Lila's reply, "I need to make him care. What should I do?" Daisy's response, simple. "Break him first." My stomach turned. Daisy lowered the phone, meeting my eyes through the door as if she could see through it. Then she whispered, "I warned you. You should have played along," and walked away, leaving me with the nauseating truth. The villain hadn't been Lila. Not entirely. It had been Daisy the whole time. And now that I knew, Daisy had just put herself directly in my line of fire. I barely slept that night. I kept replaying Daisy's smile through the peephole. Slow, confident, like she'd already planned 10 moves ahead, and I was just now catching up to the first one. Morning came gray and heavy over Cincinnati. I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee I couldn't taste, staring at the printed fake screenshots Lila had left. Daisy's fingerprints were all over them. But what I didn't understand, what I couldn't understand, was why. Why go this far? Why torch someone else's relationship? Why manipulate your best friend into psychological warfare? That answer came at 9:30 a.m., with a phone call I never could have expected. It was Lila's mother. She sounded exhausted, like she'd aged 10 years overnight. "Aaron," she said quietly, "I need you to listen carefully. I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling because you need to know what this is really about." The tone in her voice made every hair on my body stand on end. "Is Lila okay?" I asked. Silence. Then, "She will be. But she's not the problem." She inhaled shakily. "It's Daisy." I didn't say anything. She continued, voice trembling. "Daisy has always had an unhealthy attachment to Lila. Ever since high school. She controlled who Lila dated, who she befriended, how she lived her life. Every time someone got close to Lila, Daisy found a way to sabotage it." My stomach twisted. She kept talking. "You're not the first boyfriend she's done this to. You're just the first one who didn't take the bait." My coffee went cold in my hands. "She did it with Lila's ex too," her mother said. "Spread rumors, created drama, forged texts. It destroyed the relationship and left Lila devastated. Daisy swooped in afterward, convinced her she'd saved her from someone dangerous." My blood pressure dropped. "She wants Lila to depend on her," her mother whispered. "She wants to be the center of Lila's life. She has for years. The realization struck with icy clarity. Daisy wasn't meddling. She wasn't just jealous. She wasn't just chaotic. She was possessive, pathological, territorial, obsessed. Lila wasn't just her best friend. Lila was her project, her possession, her emotional hostage. Aaron, her mother said, lowering her voice. Daisy didn't just show Lila fake texts. She told Lila she'd seen you with other women. She even told her you tried to flirt with her. I froze. She told Lila that if she didn't put you in your place, you'd eventually leave her for someone else. So Lila panicked. She listens to Daisy the way someone listens to an oracle. And Daisy has been feeding her poison for years. I pressed a hand to my forehead. It finally made sense. Every overreaction, every insecurity, every moment Lila twisted innocent situations into betrayal. Daisy had been narrating her world. Her mother kept going. She wants Lila broken so she can be the one to save her. It makes her feel important, needed, in control. When Lila moved in with you, she started panicking. She told me one night she felt like she was losing her. The dread hit me full force. This wasn't just manipulation. This was long-term psychological conditioning. Control disguised as friendship. A cage built out of loyalty and fear. Aaron, her mother whispered. Daisy didn't want Lila to test you. My heart hammered. She wanted Lila to break you. Silence. Cold and suffocating. If you broke, she continued, Lila would run to Daisy. And if you didn't break, Daisy wanted to destroy you anyway. To prove she could. A chill crawled across my skin. Lila didn't know she was being used. She didn't understand Daisy's real motive. She thought Daisy was protecting her. But Daisy's real reason, the reason behind the faked screenshots, the sabotage, the obsession, was simple, brutal, and terrifying. She wanted to isolate Lila from everyone who loved her. She wanted Lila dependent. She wanted control. And I was standing in the way. The realization landed like a punch. Daisy didn't just want me gone. She wanted me ruined. And now that she knew I'd figured her out, now that she'd shown up at my door, smiling like she'd already won, I understood one thing with absolute clarity. If I didn't end this decisively, if I didn't push back harder than she ever expected, Daisy would keep coming. And she wouldn't stop until she'd burned my entire life to the ground just to prove she could. When I hung up with Lila's mother, I wasn't shaking anymore. I wasn't confused. I wasn't emotional. I wasn't scared. I was focused, because everything finally made sense. And now I knew exactly where to strike. My revenge wasn't going to be loud. It wasn't going to be dramatic. It wasn't going to be messy. It was going to be clean, undeniable, and public. The only language someone like Daisy understands. I spent the next 3 hours organizing every scrap of proof. The fake screenshots at the forged text messages, Daisy's messages at Jenna's DMs, hallway camera footage showing Daisy at my door, timestamps Lila's space text. Everything I created a folder labeled Daisy, harassment/manipulation evidence package. Then I made 3 backups. Cloud, hard drive, encrypted email. If Daisy wanted to play games, I was going to play league level. I started with Lila, not because I wanted her back, not because I needed closure, but because she deserved the truth. I sent one final message from a new email she couldn't block. Subject: the truth you should have seen attached. Every file, every screenshot, every fake text, Jenna's messages, everything Daisy had done behind her back. No commentary, no emotion, just evidence. And one sentence: this is the person who's been destroying your life and mine. Sent. Done. Whether she believed it or not wasn't my problem. My responsibility ended at the truth. The next move was for the people who kept enabling her. I sent a second email, this one to Lila's mother, her sister, and her cousin, the 3 people Lila actually listened to. Attached again, everything. But this time I added a note. If Daisy contacts me again, I will pursue a restraining order. For now, I'm giving your family a chance to handle her yourselves. An implicit threat, but a fair one. They wanted to call me cruel? Let them see who the real villain was. I went to building management and filed a formal harassment record. The desk manager took one look at the footage of Daisy at my door and said, "Yeah, she's banned. Effective immediately." They printed a photo of her and added it to the do not admit list. Security cameras flagged her face now. If she stepped foot inside, they'd call the police before she even reached the lobby. Her playground was gone. Her access to drama cut off at the source. That evening, while the sky turned amber outside my windows, my phone buzzed with a message from Jenna. "Holy shit, you did something, didn't you?" Apparently Daisy's world had started imploding within hours. Lila's sister had confronted her. Her mother had screamed at her in a grocery store parking lot. 3 friends blocked her. Her group chat imploded. And worst of all, for Daisy, Lila stopped talking to her. Completely. Cold turkey. A straight psychological sever. Daisy's entire sense of purpose. Gone with one swipe. Jenna texted, "She's losing it. She's telling people you ruined her life." I replied, "No, she ruined her own. I just turned on the lights." Around midnight I got an email. From Lila. Just 2 sentences. "I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Please don't worry. I won't be bothering you again. No begging. No manipulation. No pressure. Just a woman who finally saw the monster standing next to her." I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. The next morning, the sky over Cincinnati was clean and bright. My apartment was quiet, peaceful. I updated my relationship status again. Not to dramatic, not to petty. Just single, healing, moving forward. I blocked every remaining account connected to Lila or Daisy. Changed my number. Started going to the gym again. Cooked real meals. Laughed more easily. A week later, Carla from downstairs caught me in the lobby and joked, "So, no more women screaming your name from the sidewalk?" I smiled. "Not anymore." And for the first time in months, I actually meant it. Sometimes people say revenge is petty. But sometimes, revenge is just telling the truth to the people who need to hear it the most, and letting the villain destroy themselves with their own lies. Daisy wanted to break me. Instead, she broke her own pedestal. And the best part? I didn't have to lift a finger. I just made sure everyone finally saw what she'd been hiding behind that smile.